So where do you see the solar industry going in the next 3 to 5 years? I mean, obviously there's all these different legislation moves and NEM3, and you have all these different pushes, pros and cons. What's your take? What's your pulse on it?
I mean, I have nothing but excitement for it. Like, I think that I honestly feel like we're really just still at the very beginning of where solar is going to go. If we kind of look back on the history of how the world as a whole has changed, with industrial revolutions and things like that, like the way those things happen, there's a new form of energy, a new form of transportation, and a new form of communication. And
do you see it getting innovated in any way, like changing how it is currently set up, or what innovations do you foresee?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because I'm in tech so much now, I think that the tech side is going to speed things up dramatically. I like what some of the other plays are to speed up AHJs and permitting and things like that. If we can get that streamlined across the United States, where permitting is the same across the board,
yeah,
we won't be looking at, sometimes you have these places where there's 3-month permitting times. If you can get it where it's all streamlined and the same, then we could actually get to a point where we're installing solar the same week you sell it. And I do think that the tech will get to that point where a rep will be able to sell a job and the same week will then be installed, just because of how much quicker we can get those pieces done.
Do you think people are going to get more savvy around it? Or is there going to be different purchasing style, financing styles? Like, what do you like, sales models that will change?
Sure. I mean, I can't predict those things. I love human ingenuity to begin with. So I think people that are, as a whole, are very creative, and they'll find ways, and where money is still good in solar, they'll find ways to maximize it. I do think there'll still be a continuation of consolidation. I think more and more companies will be purchased and swallowed up. I think batteries are going to be a huge deal in regards to NEM 3.0. I think that's the answer, is that I think, it got indefinitely delayed, that decision, which I wasn't necessarily surprised about that. We've been through 3 of these already in California, so it hasn't been shocking to us. Like, I've had a lot of our reps go like, dude, what's going on with the NEM 3.0? I'm like, dude, it's going to be fine. We've already done this 3 times. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
But what will happen along the way, in my opinion, is that the pricing for buying back your kilowatt hours will be decreased, so that in commensurate time as batteries become more affordable. So I think that as that pricing model gets less attractive for homeowners because of the NEM agreements, the pricing for batteries will become more accessible, and you'll become more and more autonomous from the grid. That will make it more easily available for people to get batteries. And so I think that's probably one of the next changes. Is you'll end up seeing a lot of people moving towards a different sale tactic, which would be, maybe I just offer batteries and I go back and retrofit batteries to homes, or sales orgs and installers are going back to their existing customers and retrofitting batteries. Sunrun, of course, made the move. That's why they bought Vivint. They wanted to create their own utility company basically out of batteries. Makes sense. I get it. I think utility companies themselves will also move in that direction, where they'll try and become more like Sunrun is. Will be offering solar plus storage to take the burden off their grid. Like, that would be a smart move if you're a utility company, but they historically haven't been the brightest. So who knows?
They're not listening to this podcast, unfortunately. Just kidding. Utility. I'm curious to see how utility companies adapt. You have like that in Utah. You have like the Blue Power or Sky Power, or whatever, that is like, hey, buy like cleaner energy for an extra $10 a month or whatever. You know what I mean? It's interesting to see utilities' responses, and and obviously you have other forms of renewable energy like wind and nuclear, and you have other energy sectors that are not just solar. I'm curious to see how those innovate and play a space into bigger solar projects, supplying the grid. So be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think that a lot of there'll still be innovation. I'm excited to see what those things are, and I don't think, one of the things I guess I would respond to that seems to come up in the industry is that when the ITC expires, solar will also expire. There is a sentiment that exists in the industry that this is a short-term play. It's a gold rush kind of thing. And I would just say, for those who believe that, I hope you still believe it. Leave the rest of the space for us, because this isn't going anywhere. Like, I think that we're in the next revolution of power, and there's going to be a massive distribution of wealth. And if those who want to leave after the ITC expires leave, please do.
I love it. No, and I trust me, I see two sides. I see a lot of the people that are nervous, and they're just like, make hay while the sun shines, guys. I'm like, make hay while the sun shines. That's a dumb question. The sun's always going to be shining, and solar's always going to be collecting sun. So therefore,
that whole sentiment, I feel like if there's people who are buying into that, their leadership is perpetuating that problem. And I think that's mainly because they're a company that probably sells strictly one type of product that relies on that. Yeah. To be fair, there are some states that the utility companies, the costs are so low that without the subsidy of the ITC, that it becomes more difficult. But it also assumes that pricing is going to stay the same.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to become more competitive. And it's like, well, if we increase efficiencies with soft costs, like we're talking about, then prices do come down. And you don't think we can find a way to shave 30% or 26% off of what currently
instead of reps making 60 to 100 grand a month, maybe if they're making 20 to 30 grand a month,
I mean, that's just it. Like, and I'm all for it. Like, I don't want to speed that up. I don't want to speed up the reps decrease in commission. I want them I want to get paid as much as possible, as long as possible. But there's other things that will also change the cost structure. And as those change, we can't look at one variable.
No, it's going to be a small piece.
That's the only variable.
Yeah, there's a lot of pieces. Yeah.